Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. Should be good. What's up, guys? My name is Link. Uh, I'm the current programmer for Isolation of Suguri 2. I'm the one who is making all the updates that have been coming out for the game in 2020. So I want to do a live stream to showcase some of the features that we've been adding in version 1.7. I apologize for my English because English is not my first language. It's actually not my native language. It's just my second language. So I don't speak it as well as I do in Portuguese. So I don't know if it's going to be easy to understand or not. So I apologize earlier for that. So I want to showcase some of the new features for version 1.7 because in my opinion we are adding some pretty important stuff, not only for Isolation of Suguri 2, but for fighting games as a whole. I believe some of those features could be easily implemented in other fighting games as well, and would benefit the entire genre with that. So with that said, let's begin. Okay, first up, I think I'll be picking Kai. It's easier to showcase with her. Player 2 can be whatever. You see a song that there is no dialogue on it. This one. Okay, the first feature is that now the training mode, in training mode and replay mode, once you enter the mode, it opens up the training menu. So before you start training, you can set up everything that you want to do for the training before the match starts. So I think that's pretty convenient. Okay, another addition is that now on single player modes or in offline modes, for you to pause, you have to press the button for a second. You need to press pause for a full second before it pauses the game. This is important because if you're playing a tournament offline, this means that you'll not be able to accidentally pause the game while playing the tournament. So this is why it is important. So like if you're having a tournament like we had in Shoutout last year, if someone like accidentally press pause when they are playing, you do not pause the game. You just show this and you press for a full second before it pauses the game. Aside from that, some minor changes that we did is that now you can do infinite ammo for both your weapon A and weapon B. So you can practice using infinite ammo now, if you want to. This is one of the minor changes. Another minor change that we added was suggested by one of our users in Isolation of Suguri Discord is the quick reset. Instead of just like pressing reset training and reset the whole training, which resets all your settings and etc., you can just simply press quick reset and you put you right at the beginning of the training mode. So with that, you take less time in trying to reset the training mode. So for example, if you let your player get stuck on the corner and you want to do another combo, you can just pause the game, press quick reset, and come back right at the beginning of it. For the next features, let me first turn on the hitbox so you can see the feature. Another minor feature that we added is this timer that you probably already noticed. Now, whenever you unpause the game to get back into a match, it tells 3 seconds before you start the match. So if you're playing locally against another player, it will not happen that you unpause the game and the other player did not notice that you unpause it. If you unpause the game, it says 3, 2, 1, and then lets you continue. So if you're playing against another player, this is really important because it stops you from, it warns you that the match is going to start again. Okay, next up, this is going to be really useful using the hitbox, is frame data. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, you have now saying total, startup, and hit stun. Total is basically how much how much of the movie is being shown on the screen. So like this is a frame data. So when you press total, it shows how many frames this movie has right now in total. Hit stun is basically when you get hit by a movie, how much time you spend in hit stun. And startup is basically startup of each movie, but there is a catch. You can tell like when you do a single move, you show the hitbox of the first move. But when you do a projectile, you show the startup of each projectile. So how can you tell what's the startup, for example, of the first projectile? With that in mind, we included another feature that's you can rewind and fast forward time in training. So you can like press right during hide pause menu. You can press right to fast forward time and press left to rewind time. You can press up and down to choose the speed as well. So let's say I want to check the startup of each individual projectile of this movie. I just do the move, press hide pause, and I can tell now. It will show frame by frame. So the first projectile comes out in 13 frames. The second projectile comes out in 15 frames. The third in 17 frames, and so on. It shows you precisely all the movement of the game, and you can tell like which frame each projectile is coming out. And you can do that for every move in the game. For example, here. Same thing. You can also use that, for example, with supers. For example, here you can tell that the first hit that you can hit her is 13 frames, but you are not in range yet. And now each move where there is a hit. You can check that frame by frame. And you can do that like literally every move in the game. There is one catch though. When you are doing a melee attack, like here, you can notice that the startup is showing a little bit differently. Why is that? For example, you do a move, and it's showing like 90 frames or 14 frames, 21 frames. This is because I decided that when you are doing a melee move, sometimes you can press the button a little bit late or a little bit early for each move of the string. So you are doing one move, then you are doing the other, then you are doing the other. So the way that I decided to do it is that you can tell when you are delaying a move or not. So if you do on the first frame possible, you can see that it's going to show the startup of each move really quickly. So for example, 90 is the first possible frame that the move can come out. And then you have like 18. Oh, and one more thing, when you are doing fast forward in training, it only stores your inputs that you're going backwards. If you're going forward and you didn't input and you move it in a way that haven't done the move yet, to a frame that haven't input the move yet, it will erase the movies like that. So it's not going to show. So I have to be careful in testing with melee attacks basically. But for example, here you can tell that every move I did in here startup 11 and other two I did on startup 18. If I delay the move, those values are going to be different. See? So you can tell how many frames exactly the move has been delayed by using that. So the last move was 34 frames. The second move was 28 frames. And the original move another move was 27 frames. And the original move was 11 frames. And like I said, when you move forward, you lose all the inputs that you did later. So I have to be careful with that. So those are basically the main features that you have for training. For the rewind that we do, like you can rewind time, since it is basically like saving a stage on every single frame, so you can rewrite that stage, it consumes a lot of memory. Because of that, there is a limit to how much it's going to store at any time. So you can only go back in time for around like 2 minutes, like 8,000 frames, around 2 minutes and some seconds. So there is this counter on the top of the screen. They're like, let me reset training so you guys can see this clearly. There is this counter on the top of the screen that when it's moving, it's going to take a while, but once it reaches 8,000 frames, the game will notify you that it has reset. It's going to take a while though, because yeah, it is 2 minutes after all. So you can see that in 2 minutes you can do a lot of things. Okay, so we are halfway through. This is something that I cannot like fast forward, like I have to show waiting for the time, unfortunately to show. So it's going to take a little bit more. Okay, 7,000. When it hits around 7,700, it's gonna warn you that it's going to reset. So 600, okay, 700. Rewind reset in some frames. And now, before it resets, let me show you. You have all these that can reset for all those times. It shows on the bottom of the screen how many frames you have stored and which frame you are on the storage. And once it resets, it says rewind memory reset. And you cannot come back to what you had before that. So it loads all the resets. This is because if we allow the game to store infinitely, it would use all your memory eventually. So you would have to reset at some time. This also means that when you're using save states, there are some exceptions to that as well. There are some restrictions to that. Speaking of save states, every time you save a state now, the border of the screen goes green, as you can see. And every time you load a stage, it goes yellow. This is to indicate that you have some time to do things like. So it's to indicate which frame exactly you save the state and load the stage. And every time that you load a stage, you lose everything that you are doing before on the rewind time. So you can go back from before that. See? And you can also save stage during hide pause menu. So you can choose a specific frame that you want to save and load back from it. So if you're doing, for example, a combo, I don't want to have a specific frame of bottom of the combo, you can do like this. Okay, but you want to practice from, I don't know, starting from the second hit for some reason. There are some characters that this might be useful. So you just come back. you put it here, right before the second hit hits. You save a state here, so every time it's gonna load here. And you can practice it from there. And you can just keep practicing from this part of the combo for as much as you want. And you can just keep practicing for as much as you want from the position of the combo that you wanted. And just keep doing it. So if you already learned the first half of a combo, and you just want to test the later half of the combo or what hypers works and doesn't, you don't have to do the full combo all the time. You just need to do the save a state right at the end of the combo using the rewind and fast forward features like you with control time. And just reload where you want to and test what works and what doesn't without having to redo the entire combo all the time. So this is really useful for that. You can also check if how much you can delay a move and etc. For example, you can delay this a lot, for example. Or you can just wait and see how much time it takes for you to stop. Things like that. Okay, the other features, they are all training related that I'm going to show now, but they are used on replays. You have to open up a replay. So I saved some replays from the tournament today. We were having a tournament. So let's take, for example, this first one. On replay, we also have a rehauled replay mode menu. So you have Hitbox Viewer, like you already had, save states. Frame data also works on replays. And there's this quick takeover that I'm going to explain really soon what it does. Okay, so first of all, in training mode, you can also hide pause menu to go back and see the entire training frame by frame of the entire match, so you can analyze with precision. And you can set it with 2, 4, and etc. And go on frame by frame. So for example, if you're watching a match or making an analysis of a match, and you think there is something really important that you want to talk about, or that you missed, you can just stop the match and try checking that frame by frame. So for example, this interaction that I had, where both players used the super. You can come back, can pause on that, come back and test and check what exactly happened. So for example, I took some time to do the super when he already did first, and I didn't react to the super, for example. And he dashed, no reaction. Tried to hit me, but I was invincible, so none of the players got hit. Then I dash cancel. You can see that I canceling dash to get away, and I managed to get away. And later on I did a shield just to be sure what happened, and then used the missile. So it's possible to analyze the match frame by frame like that using this feature. And you can also save a replay, save state in an important situation. So for example, you want to analyze this later. So you just keep watching the match. And then something happens later on that say, this reminds me of that other moment. So you can just load the state again and analyze that moment again to see if it was the same thing or it was different. And if you think that you missed something really on your own the match and you want to replay that once again, you can also quick reset the training to the beginning of the match. But your save state is still stored, so you can return to that save state that you saved at any time you want. Okay, now for the most important feature, which I think is revolutionary. And before I talk this, I want to give you a little shout out, speak about a little bit about something. This feature was implemented by, the idea was from a Brazilian player called Crapa, who helped me on this game. He's a beta tester for this game now. And I implemented it in code. So he had the idea and I programmed it. So I want to say, to have a quick shout out, a quick time to say a shout out to the Brazilian fighting game community, because like I believe the Brazilians don't get the recognition that they deserve. Because, for example, the idea of this feature was by a Brazilian. I think it's revolutionary, so that's why I implemented. I'm also a Brazilian working in a fighting game right now as a programmer. And in Brazil, we are really passionate about fighting games. So in all levels, so we do content for it in all levels of the fighting game community. So we have in the casual level, where there is a lot of players who really enjoy fighting games casually there, who watch tournaments, who play fighting games, who compete in fighting games. We still have arcades in Brazil where people go there. There is a fighting game culture there that people like talk about the King of Fighters and etc. We do things, on the competitive level, because like there is a lot of tournament organizers in Brazil that do a lot of great stuff there. A lot of really nice tournaments, both online and offline. We have a lot of circuits for a lot of different fighting games. We have a lot of amazing players in a lot of different fighting games. We have players who can compete with the highest level players all over the world. And we are also doing things in a development level as well. We have people working in fighting games in Brazil, creating new content for fighting games in terms of programming, of design, of art, of beta testing, not just here in isolation of Suguri, but there are other people that I know that work in fighting games in Brazil for other different fighting games. So I want to give a shout out that Brazilians, they do a lot for fighting games, but we don't get the recognition in terms of having pro tours in Brazil, having the companies wanting to interact with our players, having our players being sponsored for going to other tournaments, having major tournaments in Brazil being sponsored by those big companies. So I just wanted to give a shout out that we Brazilians, we do a lot for fighting games, and we want to be part of the fighting game community globally. We want to be able to have the opportunity to be in tournaments, to have sponsors for our biggest players, to have opportunities to go to big tournaments, to have the majors come to us, not just like we having to travel to United States or Europe to compete. So I just want to say that like Brazilians are doing a lot of fighting games in a lot of levels, both casually, competitively, tournaments, develop games. So I want just to give this quick shout out. Okay, now that I said all that, let's return to the point specific what I'm saying about that. This feature that we implemented. So for example, let's find a situation in the match where I got hit by a combo or something like that. For example here. You can tell on this situation that right after I escaped, I did a missile and he went right through me and hit me with the Beyblades, with the projectiles. So, was there something that I could have done to avoid that? Was there something that I could have done different to escape the situation? You can test that now. So, for example, let's save a stage here. I was player 1, I was using the player 1 side, so I'm gonna choose take over from player 1 side. And you can see now that my action is gonna be different. Why is that? Because now I'm controlling player 1. So I'm not getting hit like it happened before, because I'm the one in control of the player 1 right now. So I can practice this situation as many times as I want until I find something optimal. Like for example now, I tried doing a melee attack to see if I was able to go through that. I wasn't. So let's try again with another missile and see if I win. I didn't. So let's try again with lasers. It didn't hit, but I escaped without any troubles. So let's try again charging a shot. I defeat a big blade, for example. So you can keep practicing the same situation over and over again that happened in a real match until you find the most optimal solution to that. And once you do that, once you take over, all the features that you have right now are all from the training menu. You have the whole training menu for you to test. So for example, I want to see what could I have done if I had the meter to do so. You can like enable hypergeneration. and see, for example, if you did a super at that moment, it would have worked or not. Even though you did not have the meter at the time when you were doing the match, you can check if that situation, what would have happened if you had the meter to do so. If I had meter to shield, for example, or to do a hyper, or to do another hyper, and so on. You can practice as much as you want and check what was the most optimal situation you could do there, even if you didn't have the meter at the time. So you can like reproduce the same situation with your most optimal tools, even though they were not available for all the time. And if you want to find another situation, like if you hide pause menu, you keep replaying as if you are from the actual replay. So you have the same actions for the actual replay. And you can also return to the beginning of a match and put it to replay as well. So you can find another situation that you can practice. Oh, and one more thing, like this is everything that I want to show, but there's one more small thing that I think is really important. You can open the Mizumi Wiki from the game itself. So when you are in training or when you are in replays after you took over, you can open the wiki and check everything that you want from a character. So for example, I want to know the properties of Suguri move. I can do that. And you show me. I don't have to open a browser just to check the wiki without the tools for a character. I can just do it on the game itself. So big shoutouts for Mizumi for having this wiki and have all these amazing tools that you can practice a character with. All the game plan of the character, normal moves, frame data, you name it. So that's it. I think this is everything that I have to show now. Those are the most important things. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Blinky. Please support our game. Right? I don't know much to say. I don't know what could I say at the end of the streaming, but thank everyone for watching. I hope you enjoy the new update. I hope you take full advantage of these new features that I think are really important. Some I think are really revolutionary. And I hope to see you guys online, playing the game, and etc. Oh, and one more thing before I go out. If you go to ranking, all the records for the top page of Quarantine Report, the major that we had today, had been added to the game. So all the winners are here. So congratulations to everyone who played today at the tournament and got top 8. You guys are in the game and everyone can see your names there now. So that's it, guys. I see you some other time. Later.